Asper, Mage, and Flora in the semifinals of the MLG tournament. So they prove that it can be possible, but here we go. We are going to jump into game number 2. I did get the thumbs up from Clutter. War game requests being sent out, everybody. That team was Korean. No, Goreki was on that team. I know Goreki. That was the one player I actually am familiar with. I think Goreki was actually playing on the Shaman.
Oh, okay.
Here we go. We're jumping back into it, and it is going to be the WLS versus the Mage Boomkin once again on the Grand Arena. Let's try this again, shall we? Now, the WLS that was facing this Mage Boomkin Holy Pally team in the MLG tournament had a specific strategy, and it was they hid behind the pillar until they got they turtled up until they got into deeper dampening, or if they were like scared, like if they had defensive cooldowns used, they would hide behind the pillar and try to gain their advantage that way, forcing this Mage Boomkin to overextend. And it worked for them, regardless of the cross CC that the Mage Boomkin had. For whatever reason, the damage of WLS countered them, not necessarily countered them, but seemed to work in deep dampening.
Yep, and that is one of the weaknesses of this Mage Boomkin team, is that if you are line of sighting them, they can't really get too much damage out. So this WLS wants to play really defensive, they can, absolutely.
Yeah, here we go. The gates have opened. Can this WLS be patient enough to get their advantage? We're going to find out here very soon. Losa going to go ahead and charge in. The icicles are going to be built from Majidin right away. And it looks like Losa is going to be the kill target for now. Not really sure. Asper actually pulling way back. It looks like this Mage Boomkin team is going to allow the WLS to be the aggressors.
Super T's actually changed his spec. So he doesn't have the Observer anymore. He has just the Fell Hunter coming out, playing that sec pet. Maybe he noticed that they were going to target it down, and now he's sacked the pet, but he's in that full bash right now. Having to use that in Rage Regeneration right away. The Ring of Frost into the Polymorph on the Metaphors, and Super T's under a lot of pressure. I don't even think he has a port down right now, so he's very far from his port. He doesn't have anywhere to go, and he needs to get one down. Finally, the port coming out as a link as well from Metaphors, so yeah, already so much damage going out onto Super T's. Metaphors actually getting out of that root beam, and they're going to pull back defensive to the pillar, get away, but this isn't a great start for this WLS.
It isn't at all. Super T is going to go ahead and use that Demon Soul. They want to try to get some momentum, and it looks like Floria is the kill target for Losa right now. But he's going to be pulled back. But oh wow, Losa's going to offensively trinket out of that. Use Recklessness onto Floria, and Floria's Saber of the Light is going to be procced, as well as the Wings and the Execution Sentence are going to be used. So that Recklessness getting a lot done onto Floria. Metaphor is now caught into that full cyclone, and the Hodge goes on to Super T. Super T is going to go ahead and fear up Asper out of that, trying to prevent that setup's momentum, and it looks like Metaphors is going to get out of that CC and heal up his lock for now.
Yep, Super T still doesn't have his heals up for another 2 minutes, so very long cooldowns, but he's just going to be hugging that pillar at the moment, playing very safe. Floria getting hit reasonably hard, but he still has all his cooldowns if he needs them. He has his Aura Masteries, Bop, Bubble, Trinket, but he is down to 38% HP. Does not have the Save of the Light available. Hodge going out onto Losa, the full Deep Ring on the Metaphors. Losa taking a lot of pressure right now. Super T's playing so defensive, could backfire here. Losa is all by himself. He's going to pull back. Metaphors out of the CC. He's going to be able to top off Losa, but that was the Enrage Regeneration coming out from Losa. Floria taking a lot of damage, though, down to 23%. Having to use that bubble right away, so this WLS getting so many cooldowns, rolling the Root Beam, though, on the Metaphors at the moment into the full Cyclone. Can this Mage Boomkin get the pressure out they need? Super T is actually doing a great job fearing out Mage and Asper, denying some of their damage and their CC. At the moment, both teams have stabilized, but Floria already having to use his bubble.
He did already have to use his bubble, and it looks like this WLS is playing a lot more offensively than we see the WLS that beat this team earlier, and it's working for them so far. They're getting a lot out of Floria. Now the fear goes out onto Asper and Floria. Asper's going to go ahead and trinket out of that, but the Polymorph is still on Metaphors into another DR Polymorph, and now the Hodge onto Super T's. He's going to trinket right away and try to get out of line of sight of this potential setup, and then he's going to gate back away, trying to juke out Majid, and he's going to run back towards Metaphors, and looks like he's going to be A-okay for now, as Metaphors isn't getting any more CC just yet. Floria actually getting locked out there for just a brief moment, but it looks like both teams have stabilized for now. Super T's using that Demon Soul and is going to get offensive, getting those hots out out well. Floria at 50% health here, and he's going to go ahead and use his wings to try to keep his team offensive and do a little bit of catch up there. The full polymorph lands on a Metaphors, the Hodge onto Supatis once again. They're just constantly setting up. Supatis trying to kite him with his port, but now he's back in the open at 50% health here. Metaphors still in that full polymorph. He does have a trinket link available to them. The beam out of it onto Metaphors. Supatis at 60% health here. He's forced to use the regen as well. Floria with his wings up is also keeping his team very offensive as the Celestial Alignment is still going strong for Asper, but Metaphors isn't in any more CC just yet, and he's going to go ahead and use that Aura Mastery heal, but the Deep Freeze comes out. Is the Ling going to land? The ring is going to land out of that. Supatis coming out of the offensive clone now into the DR Hodge, and that's going to force a trinket link with an overlap of Rallying Cry.
Yeah, so this WLS having to use so many cooldowns. Metaphors doesn't have a trinket for another 2 minutes. Floria taking a lot of damage though at the moment. Mage didn't doing a good job spam sheeping Losa so Floria can get away and try to get some heals off. Line of sighting Losa, who is snared up by that cone of gold. So once again, well done by Majidin. Losa actually able to reconnect onto Floria. Floria, a little bit of a mistake there running into his line. So he let him reconnect for free, and because of that, he's going to have to use that bot. Metaphors getting deep frozen into a full sheep, but it gets reflected by Losa. So well done by Losa, preventing Metaphors from going into that full polymorph, and that was important because Metaphors has no trinket, and both Supatis and Losa have no defensive cooldown. So if he actually landed that polymorph, that could have been the game, in fact.
Absolutely, man. The triple Shadow Fury coming out from Supatis, and they're still connecting onto Floria. Floria surely is the kill target for this team, and he's running out of buttons. He has Bop, Execution Sentence, and the Execution Sentence wings are going to come out, but he's still dipping lower and lower. With these wings up and the wall as well, Floria should be completely fine here. Now the Deep Freeze onto Metaphors, and it looks like they're actually going onto Metaphors. The DR Hodge out of that, the Mass Spellerflight comes out to negate some of that damage, and Metaphors just took a whole bunch of pressure, but didn't really trade any defensive cooldowns. Now Majidin dipping so low is going to be forced into that block, and this WLS is getting defensive cooldown after defensive cooldown from just about everybody as we're going into 4% dampening here.
Yeah, and I don't really know who has the advantage deeper in dampening. You said perhaps WLS does, so
maybe, yeah.
I guess the longer this game goes, WLS is going to be looking better and better, but right now Metaphor's caught into a full polymorph. Losa taking a bit of damage, having to use that in Rage Regeneration into the DR Hodge. Asper didn't have a Celestial Alignment. That's coming up for him in around 50 seconds, so they might be able to make something happen. Metaphors has his trinket. If they can force Metaphor's trinket before Celestial Alignment comes up, that'll be their opportunity to land a kill. Metaphor's gone to the bash at the moment. Losa still at around 45% HP. Majidin getting his sheep reflected on him, getting spam feared up by Supatis as well, so getting shut down a little bit there. Supatis just throwing out the fears onto everyone. Metaphor's caught into that full sheep though. He might have to trinket this. Losa getting dangerously low, down to around 30% HP. If there's any follow-ups you see on the Metaphors, the DR Deep Freeze coming in, a Spirit Link coming out from Metaphors, well done. So he's able to save that PvP trinket. I believe that was a Spirit Link coming in, halving his HP in Losa. So he did throw out that Spirit Link. He has another one coming up in around 30 seconds. But yeah, Metaphor's doing an excellent job saving his trinket. He knows he's going to need it for when Celestial Alignment comes up, which is around 2 seconds. So Asper and Majidin both have their major offensive cooldowns ready to go if they need it. Metaphor's caught into that full polymorph at the moment, and Losa taking so much damage in that Hodge. A Rage Regeneration coming out, but is it going to be enough? Metaphor's caught into the Deep Freeze now. Celestial Alignment popped by Asper as well as Majidin's Icy Veins, so lining up those offensive cooldowns, well done by them. Losa popping the Recklessness Bladestorm, though he wants to get some counter pressure now that Metaphors is finally out of CC, but Metaphors gets fully cloned up. He has no trinket of it. Oh, sorry, he did trinket that full clone, and I got the Spirit Link out onto Losa, so that was an important trinket for him to have that available. And the WS is going to get stabilized, and Floria has his Avenging Wrath up right now. Asper having to use that Barskin as well. But this team of Mage, Boomkin, Paladin is going to be completely fine as long as Floria has those wings. But once those wings are gone, this WS might be able to get some pressure rolling. But as I say that, Losa down to 30% HP. Metaphor's caught into the CC, and that's going to be the game. Rallying Cry coming out. Somehow, some way, he survives. Metaphor's using his run cast, so he's able to get off a few casts on Losa, but that is the die by the sword as well. Losa using every cooldown. His Enrage Regeneration is coming up in around 2 seconds. I thought that was the game, but somehow he's alive. The Root Beam, though, on the Metaphors. Is he going to be able to survive? The Enrage Regeneration coming out at the last second. Losa down to 8% HP, 1% HP. Metaphors just getting bashed, deep frozen, everything into the full poly. And Mage, Boomkin, Pally going to take the first game in this finals 1-0.
They are, man. Now, like I said early in the past, looking at the WLS, is that the team, the WLS that played up against this Mage Boomkin Holy Paladin, played a lot differently. But to be honest with you, the way that this WLS was playing so very offensively seemed to be working out in their favor. But they did just run out of defensive cooldowns at that point, and the setup just was too much for them. Now, they got a lot of opportunity to land that damage. They got a lot of opportunity to land all that pressure. But imagine if that pressure was in deeper dampening, and they had these defensive cooldowns in deeper dampening. I don't know. I don't know. It could go either way, but that was the very first game.
Hello? I'm all alone. No one can hear me. He's being it for me too. Can't hear anything, guys. So, guys, how's it going today?
Hello?
Oh, hey there, buddy.
All right. So that was the name.
All good?
Yeah, I'm good. All right. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? Ben?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I apologize for that, guys. It seems that it's all fixed for now. But let's communicate with these teams and figure out what we're going to be doing next. So, we're going to go ahead and ask We Love Fountain if they're going to be playing the same composition. And then I'm going to ask Tony from the Bronx what composition they're going to be playing. All right, Mike muted. Don't say that. Loud and clear. Thank you, Abstract. I really appreciate that, man. You're a true homie. Rough time on subs and donations. We did get a new donation and a new subscriber as well. But yeah, I mean, it's to be expected. We only had 9 teams sign up, so our content actually kind of was cut nearly in half. So that's to be expected. Yesterday, I think we actually ended up leaving at like 10:30. Normally we go to like midnight. So, what happened to D Machine can't hear? Stop it.
We can all hear you. Don't worry, man.
Thanks, got my back.
I wonder why you cut out though. It just went completely silent. I was all scared.
It's my Scarlet 2i2. There's just something about like the USB that it doesn't like. I don't know. It's my adapter for XLR mic to go to USB.
Oh, okay.
And my adapter, for whatever reason, my sound interface, the USB for it just stops working, and like the drivers crash, and I have to unplug it and plug it back in, and it works. But
okay.
Yesterday I was actually running all audio through it, not just the microphone, but also my headphone audio through it. And when it crashed, it would crash OBS. So that's why I kept going offline. But today it's just crashing my microphone. So that's efficient. At least you guys can see the games, and Ven can carry me on commentating.
Yep.
Slowly working to get it fixed, guys. I just got this microphone. I literally just got the funds to be able to afford such a thing, and I'm troubleshooting it as I go. So I apologize. I tried to troubleshoot it through Skype and stuff like that, but as soon as I start using OBS and other programs, that's when the problems occur. So it's peculiar. Imagine making $500 a week by playing WoW tournaments. The dream. That was my intent from the very beginning, is that like after BlizzCon and after realizing some people that I like really cared about getting knocked out and stuff like that, I was thinking in my head like, I really wish that these guys could come and compete and make money throughout the year like other games, you know?
Yeah.
So we're slowly getting there. Slowly.
You're keeping that dream alive, especially for Mage and Asper and Floria.
Right?
Yeah.
They're younger kids
I mean, I'm sure
too,
they're
man.
not complaining. Yeah.
What? Oh. They want ruins. Oh.
I need to target something.
It was totally here.
Focus.
Clutter carrying me. Whoa! We just got a $100 donation from Metaphor Underbog. Metaphor Underbog is constantly coming back and donating us so much money. He is very, very generous. They are very, very generous. Thank you so much, Metaphor, for that. Yeah. Holy crow, dude. Thank you so much, Metaphor Man. I want to go read your note real quick. Holy crow, Metaphors. Keep doing your thing, guys. Damn. Thank you, buddy. Whew. I'm losing my focus again. Memes. Okay. Yeah, that should work. Alright. Wargame request being sent out. In before refund. Metaphors has donated to us many times, every time it has gone through. He's a real bro. $500 a week to play WoW. Sign me up. You better get high rating, because you got some serious competition if you want your hands on that money. You're going to have to go through the tyrant that is We Love Fountain. But not only We Love Fountain, but also some of the teams that compete in GCD every week are really top tier. So we do have amazing competition every single week. But man, 6.2 is right around the corner.
That's really exciting.
Man.
Maybe I'll get to play in one of these tournaments. We'll see.
We'll see. Oh man.
Maybe one day.
If you compete in one of these tournaments, I can't be casting it.
Why?
I'll be the most biased son of a... What? I really can't, dude. Like,
the dream. I want the dream to just be MLS be good. I just want to MLS the dream.
MLS be good. Yeah, I don't know about the changes specifically. I'm not completely familiar with, but I always know that there's a player influx every patch. So when 6.2 hits and the player influx occurs, I am so excited for that. But here we go. Ruins of Lordaeron. We have a WLS versus Mage, Boomkin, Holy Paladin. Los is going to go ahead and jump right onto Floria with that Storm Bolt, and he's going to get loaded up with the dots as well. This is Celestial Alignment coming out from Asper onto Metaphors. Metaphors taking so much damage, and that was the Orb as well as the DR Bash. Mass Butterfly coming out as well as the Rallying Cry, but the beam onto Metaphors out of that is going to force the Trinket Link as well. But Metaphors, he's alive. That was so many offensive cooldowns, so much going into Metaphors, and he just traded it for a Trinket Link. So I think that's relatively fair so far. Now Floria is still taking a whole bunch of pressure, but with this wings up, he should be a-okay to tank it through Losa and Supatiz's damage.
Yeah, Metaphors could be in a lot of trouble though if he doesn't top himself off. If he goes into the next stun combination, Hodge and the Bash without being full HP, it could be big trouble for him. And not only that, Asper and Mage can make something happen onto Supatiz. He has no Trinket ready or Unbound Will, so already using both his Trinket and Unbound Will to get that pressure rolling. Floria, unfortunately, only really had to use those wings. Majin pushing in for the deep sheep, gets the full sheep, kills off the healing stream, and now Supatiz caught into that full Hodge. It looks like Supatiz is going to be the target of choice, and Majin actually making a little bit of a mistake there, using that Comet Storm, breaking Metaphors out of that Polymorph, so he's going to be out of that CC now, and because of that, Supatiz is going to be completely fine. Demon Soul coming out from Supatiz, throwing out those empowered dots onto everyone. He has no Demon Souls left for another minute, so hopefully he can get something rolling with that bonus damage. The Root Beam, though, going out onto Metaphors. He gets out of it, actually. So he gets out of that Root Beam with the Windwalk Totem. Well done by him. Floria down to 40% HP. This could be his bubble, catching a huge heal there. I believe that was the execution sentence coming out from him. The Deep Sheep going out onto Metaphors. Pardon me, the Dark Regeneration coming out from Supatiz right away, so he's going to be fine, but that's just another cooldown this team is slowly working through.
It absolutely is. Floria is just taking so much damage from Losa. That's going to force the Aura Mastery as Recklessness comes out, but he's going to get Shadow Furied on the Aura Mastery. The Polymorphs goes out onto Losa, but Floria is going to catch back up with that Aura Mastery and wings for now. But both teams are trading defensive cooldowns, and the Trinket from Metaphors is coming back up, which is detrimental, really, going up against the Mage, Boomkin, Holy Pally team. There's just so much control, and now it looks like both teams have stabilized. But as I say that, they're setting up onto Supatiz with that Hodge, but it's not going to be followed up. The Deep Freeze will not be followed up because of that Master Effect. But as I say that, there's going to be a full Polymorph landing, but Floria is taking a whole bunch of pressure in the background by Losa. The Stormbolt going out into the charge stun. It's going to force the bubble, while in the background, Metaphors and Supatiz are surviving through this setup still, as Supatiz is at 50% health here, and Metaphors isn't forced to use another link just yet.
Yeah, Metaphor is actually having his Trinket back up, able to top off Supatiz with a huge heal. Asper, Floria, and Majin actually having to play a wee bit defensive right now. They're all pulling back to make sure they can recover. Metaphor's caught into that full claw on the Bash onto Losa, or sorry, the Hodge onto Losa. He decides to Trinket that immediately, uses Enrage Regeneration as well as his Die by the Sword, but Majin and Asper and Floria all getting rotted down by Supatiz, who has that Demon Soul up right now. Floria is going to have that Avenging Wrath up soon, I believe. Mage might have to use his first block. They're just running, just kiting away from this team. Throws down the Ring of Frost, actually catches the entire team in the Ring of Frost, so that might be the CC they need to sort of recover here. Metaphor's caught into the DR Polymorph, but Floria able to top off his team for the most part. Asper's still a little bit low, but the wings to the Avenging Wrath coming up from Floria's heals are going to be incredibly powerful. And that is a full Hodge on Nelosa. He's just going to explode. Metaphor's had his trinket. He actually did trinket, but it didn't matter. Losa just died immediately. That was the Celestial Alignment, Icy Veins, and that was just an unbelievable amount of damage.
Unbelievable is indeed right. I didn't actually see what was going on until Hannah like nearly fell out of her chair, just being so surprised to what just happened right there. I turned around and Hannah's just like, whoa, what was that? If she was casting, she'd be screaming. But yeah, that Hodge, I believe that was in battle stance, is going to take out Losa. And game number 2 is going to go to We Love Fountain. And now all of a sudden, the tournament champions are only 1 game away from taking the finals of tournament number 18 and continuing their path of dominance here at GCD TV.
Yeah. I mean, although WLS is seemingly a good matchup against this Mage Moonkin Paladin team, I don't know how much WLS has practiced. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Super T seems to be doing a pretty good job from what I'm watching, but it can be hard. Even if it is like a counter or a good matchup, if you don't play the matchup well against like someone who's like vets playing a comp, like these guys play this comp all the time. They know what they need to do to beat WLS, and if the WLS isn't overly familiar with the matchup, they can easily capitalize on that and secure wins like they are right now.
So there might be some composition changes coming up. But here we go. We got a donation. We got $101 donation from Sniffing Pickles, and his message reads: Metaphor Underbog is a good guy. Sniff a pickle, please. I don't think I have pickles. I'm sorry. I might have a pickle. Hannah, can you check if we have pickles? You don't think we have pickles? There's that one time that I wanted bread and butter pickles for my hamburgers, and I don't think I got them. I'm sorry.
Bread and butter pickles? What?
You never heard of the? It's not. It doesn't taste anything like bread and butter. But have you ever heard of the flavor bread and butter?
Bread and butter pickles?
Am I the only one? I love bread and butter pickles. They are delicious.
I never heard of that, dude.
Really? They're very sweet. They're a lot less tart. Well,
Oh,
they're
I hate
kind of
sweet
tart.
pickles.
They're sweet pickles.
Oh, I hate sweet pickles
We
for
don't-
whatever.
I have a cauliflower, buddy. That's all I got. But thank you so much for that donation. You single-handedly, or you and Metaphor and all of the donations are really keeping us afloat, man. Thank you guys so very much. Alright, looks like Floria is AFK for now. And it looks like We Love Fountain will be running the same composition.
You there? Hello? Oh no. All quiet.
Hear me?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's so lame. I was talking for so long.
Did it work?
Yeah, it works. It works every time. I don't know why. It sucks, and it's cool at the same time. Alright.
I get scared, man. I don't hear like any static. I don't hear any noise. I was like, I'm all alone.
No, DDoS! No, I'm fine, man. I am A-okay, but my microphone interface is killing me recently. I don't know what's going on with it. I re-downloaded the drivers like 17 times. I don't know, man. I just can't even.
Are you doing something to mute it?
No. I can.
How do you unmute it then?
Hannah comes over here and unplugs the USB and plugs it back in.
Oh, okay.
She goes, I'm like, Hannah, please save me. And she saves me. Alright, guys, we're waiting on just these teams to ready up. Alright. Ooh, there is a composition change from. It looks like there is a composition change from Tony from the Bronx. Metaphor Underbox just donated another $50. Metaphor
Dang.
Underlog says, now you don't have to sniff a pickle, M. Damn. Metaphor coming in hot. Thank you so much, man. Holy crow. We are so very close to our goal somehow. I don't even understand, but thank you guys so very much. But here we go. It looks like these teams are ready to go. I love watching that animation of it go. Oh my gosh. Okay, I think we made our goal. I think we did it, guys. We made it. We got a $79.99 donation from none other than For the Thrall, and he says to keep the OCD viewers calm.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you guys so much. We are $450 into our $500 goal, and we started with like 60 bucks. You guys are amazing. You're keeping us alive, and I love you. And we just got a $50.01 donation from Sniffing Pickles that said, "Why you do this?" And he gave another cent as well. We just reached our donation goal. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. I was under the assumption that we would never ever make our donation goal with such little time and being so far behind, but you guys did it. You guys made it happen. We are $500.01 over our donation goal. Thank you so much, and please stay tight for the announcement that I'm going to give to you guys right after this. It's gonna be amazing. Round of applause. I agree, X. Round of applause to all of you. Here we go, guys. We're gonna jump into this war game. War game request is being sent out. The next game is gonna be played out on Dalaran Sewers. My goodness gracious me, oh my. Time to celebrate. Dude, that is unbelievable. I'm freaking speechless that just occurred. We just hit $500. Alright guys, here we go. Dalaran Sewers. The 1 cent hurts.
Ooh.
MLG baby. Alright guys, welcome to Dalaran Sewers. We love fountain running that Mage, Boomkin, Holy Paladin versus Tony from the Bronx running the Turbo Cleave. So they're getting away from the WLS and they're going back to the roots, the Turbo roots. Is the Turbo roots going to be enough to take down this Mage, Boomkin, Holy Pally team though?
Might be too little too late, finally busting out the main comp against this team. And I know, like we were saying earlier before this matchup even started, that the Turbo Cleave usually loses against them, but maybe they're feeling a little bit more comfortable playing this Turbo Cleave. Who knows what could happen in dampening, but I think if Asper, Florian, Mage didn't play well, it's really their game to lose.
For real, man, for real. And here we go. Asper is going to be the kill target for this Turbo. Super T is going to go into that deep freeze. And the Ring of Frost is going to be landed. They couldn't stop it just there. And that's going to force the Shamanistic Rage from Tony as the Celestial Alignment is up for Asper, just doing a whole bunch of damage. A Polymorph out of the Ring of Frost onto Super T's into another Polymorph as well. And the Shamanistic Rage will fall finally. Now Asper getting chunked down to 55% health here. And the Shockwave also landing on the Floria. And Floria is going to go ahead and press those wings to keep Asper offensive and alive. But it looks like both teams just trading cooldown for now, as Asper doesn't have his Barkskin and Tony doesn't have his Shamanistic Rage.
Yeah, Tony getting hodged up there at the moment. Super T's has that Vigil out, throws out the NS as well as the Ironbark onto Tony Jr. So a lot of cooldowns coming out from Super T's before he goes into that full Polymorph from Majidin. Daisy Veins coming out from Majidin there. Celestial Alignment was also used from Asper. So right now, Triple Cleave fairly stabilized for the cooldowns that came out. Asper taking a little bit of damage right now. Floria throwing out those heals from max range though, so Asper should be just fine. Actually getting chunked down into the Sable of the Light range, so Sable Light going to be proccing on Asper. Tony Jr. actually using that Shamanistic Rage. Overlapped with Super T's trinket, so Super T's using that trinket, Tony Jr. using that Shamanistic Rage, and that's not what they want. Those are the two cooldowns they need to survive, so they might be able to make something happen, Asper and Majidin, on a Tony Jr. Because of that little mistake.
Yep, you're absolutely right, man. Asper still has that bark skin up and running, just reducing so much damage, but both teams are just looking, or I'm sorry, just We Love Fountain, I think, is looking for their setup onto Supatis, and at the same time, Losa and Tony Jr. are looking to just stop that completely as they're just prioritizing interrupting those cyclones on Asper over and over and over again. There's the deep freeze onto Supatis, the Hodge onto Tony Jr., the bash onto Losa, everything is CC. Tony Jr. now caught into that Hodge out of that, dipping so low to 20% health here, is going to catch a heal from himself during this ascendance, but the damage is still coming in, and Supatis is in this cyclone. Tony Jr. at 16% health here is going to catch a big heal on himself, bringing him back up to 50%, and the Supatis getting out of the CC, going to heal him up, but man, that was a scary setup for Tony from the Bronx. Now Floria is the one who's in trouble. Saber the Light's going to proc, execution sentence with the wings up are going to be used, and Floria is going to be A-okay. Now the full polymorph lands again on the Supatis, Tony Jr. into the Hodge, but now he has the Shamanistic Rage for this setup, and not a whole lot was going to happen. They're actually going to swap it over onto Losa after getting the Shamanistic Rage. I like that swap. I really do. The deep freeze onto Supatis out of that. The CC just never seems to end, as the full cyclone is going to land on the Supatis out of that, and this turbo is having a hard time stopping this setup.
Yeah, the last swap onto Tony, he did a good job making sure he used Ascendance as well as his Ancestral Guidance, and that's actually what carried him over until his Shamanistic Rage. Now was their opportunity to kill. No cooldowns left for Tony Jr. Supatis has no trinket for another 15 seconds, so if they can get that deep sheep up, deep freeze coming up in around 4 seconds for Mage, and if they can push in and get that polymorph or that full polymorph in front of him, he could be in trouble. But Asper on the back foot right now, Floria actually having to bubble. He has no trinket, no bubble. That was overlapped with Asper's bark skin, so actually, We Love Fountain kind of on the back foot, but Tony Jr. getting down to 20% HP. Supatis throwing out that NS using that trinket, so no trinket available for Supatis. Both teams just forcing so many cooldowns. Tony Jr. going to have that Shamanistic Rage up right about now, so he's going to be fine for the next swap. At least he should be. That was Asper's Celestial alignment, though, so it was good Supatis had his trinket for that, or Tony Jr. surely would have gone down.
Yep, absolutely. The double shockwave on the Asper and Floria, and a Hex is landed on a Major Cakes, but it is going to be decursed. Now Floria caught in that full cyclone, as Asper is dipping down to 46% health here, but the full polymorph is going to land on Losa, and both Tony Jr. and Supatis caught into a ring. Now Tony Jr. in the Hodge out of that, going to Sham Rage instantly, trying to prevent all that damage, but they're just going to swap the damage over onto Losa, and that's going to force the Die by the Sword. So in that CC chain, they got both Sham Rage and Die by the Sword. This Mage Boomkin Holy Valley team is adapting every time, and it seems like they're playing a lot better this time around. They're looking for opportunities to really punish them on using that Shamanistic Rage, but now Floria is the kill target for Losa, it would seem, and the wings are going to be fading here pretty soon. Now the deep freeze on the Supatis again, the setup back up off cooldown. The Hodge on the Tony Jr. is going to be trinketed. Supatis caught into the full polymorph. Can Tony survive until this polymorph fades at 50% health here? And I feel like that trinket really did save his life. It stopped, it let him shear a lot of CC, and it also kept him alive as he was able to heal himself. Now catching that Iron Bark as well is going to turn offensive. The bash out onto Floria, Mage it in at 55% health here, and Asper also getting chunked down in this turbo, just trying to hit whatever they can, and now we're getting into dampening very soon.
Yeah, 1 second now, finally dampening kicking in at that 1%. Floria's mana 64%, Supatis mana 83%, so yeah, both healers doing all right on mana for now, but I feel like if Mage and Asper and Floria are ever in trouble, they can always just pull back and play very safe. Tony Jr. using that Shamanistic Rage, Supatis getting deep frozen, no polymorph going to be followed up with that. Supatis has his Trinklet up. He's going to throw out that Nature's Vigil, so his HOTS are going to be empowered. But Asper, Mage, and Floria just have this ability to play ultra defensive if they need to. They can pull back. Asper actually knocking down Tony Jr. away from Supatis. Supatis displacing in, trying to get those heals out onto Tony Jr. Going to throw out that NS, throw out some Shrents as well. The Iron Bark coming out, so Tony Jr. going to be completely fine at the moment. But that was Supatis' trinket, and Tony Jr. doesn't have his he doesn't have his Shamanistic Rage up for another 20 seconds. Asper taking a little bit of damage, using his Barskin there for, also using his Avenging Wrath to top him off. But this is the opportunity they need to make something happen on a Tony Jr. The full Hodge coming out. Deep freeze sheep onto Supatis. This could be the game. If the DR Bash goes out on Tony Jr., he's not going to be able to heal himself up. 30% HP if they could get any more incoming damage. The DR sheep going out onto Supatis right now. Asper needs to push in and get some clones out, but Losa doing an excellent job shutting that down with the Shockwave here on Asper, Floria, and Mage then. So Supatis is going to be able to get out those Trents and get out those heals onto Tony Jr. and completely stabilize them. And now Tony Jr. is in a position where he's going to have his Trinket up as well as his Shamanistic Rage for the next swap, and because of that, he's going to be fine. I don't know if you're muted again, but Super T is getting deep frozen up once again into the sheep. The Shamanistic Rage coming out from Tony Jr. Recklessness actually coming out from Low, so they want to counter pressure a little bit here on Asper. Does have Barkskin if he needs it. Celestial Alignment also up and ready to go for Asper if he needs it. He's going to knock down Super T's as well as Tony Jr. But Asper having to play a little bit defensive, but like we said, he does have that major offensive cooldown up and ready to go. Mage has that Icy Veins as well, coming up in around 29 seconds at the moment. Super T's using that Nature's Vigil, throwing out full hots on his team, so if he does get crowd control, they're going to have very powerful heals incoming, dampening up to around 15% HP at the moment. That is the full Deep Freeze Polymorph onto Super T's. A lot of damage incoming onto Tony Jr. He's going to shrink at that and run on top of Super T's. Because of that, Mage is not going to be able to throw out those Ice Novas. Tony Jr. is just going to line of sight, throw out those Healing Surges onto himself, getting that Ironbark from Super T's. He's finally out of that crowd control. Super T's has a Trinket coming up in around 7 seconds. Asper has Nature's Vigil up at the moment. He's going to be getting a little bit of healing from his damage. The bash out, though, onto Floria from Super T's. Super T's wants to push in and get offensive, but he gets root beamed from Asper into the full clone. So well done by Asper, shutting down Super T's as he does attempt to go offensive there. Losa getting hodged up, but Super T's able to dispel it before he goes into that deep freeze. So well done by Super T's. That was a very clutch dispel, very important for him not have to really use his trinket or have Losa really use anything. Floria's Avenging Wrath is going to fade. He did use that to empower his heals, like I said, and keep his team up. But Asper actually getting a little bit low. He does have Barskin if he needs it. Catches a big heal from Floria. Tony Jr. actually throwing out that Shamanistic Rage. He's going to have Ascendance as well as Ancestral Guidance coming up in around 15 seconds. So if he needs that defensively, he's going to have it. The sack coming out from Floria onto Asper at the moment. So it's going to prevent a little bit of incoming damage. That is the Deep Sheep, though, onto Super T's, Hodge onto Tony Jr. at the moment. And Tony Jr. Doesn't have Sham Rage available, so Super T's is going to trinket that, throw out the Vigil, throw out the Ironbark, and keep Tony Jr. alive. But once again, both teams just going to be looking for opportunities where the other team finally runs out of cooldowns. Both have so many low cooldowns up, so it's all going to be about them overlapping and each team capitalizing on those people overlapping cooldowns. Super T's has no trinket. Tony Jr. has no Sham Rage for another 10 seconds, but he's going to throw out that Ancestral Guidance as well as the Ascendance. And Floria in a little bit of trouble right now. He does have Bubble if he needs it. He's going to throw out that Bubble. He needs to get out those heals. Asper getting dangerously low, getting cloned up by Super T's. Floria using the Avenging Wrath as well. He needs to get out this healing at the moment. The Bubble just wasn't enough. He knows that now. Super T's actually pushing in onto Floria, shutting down some of the heals. Asper getting tunneled down, actually able to knock off no one. He used that Typhoon, didn't hit anyone, unfortunately. And right now it actually looks like We Love Fountain is kind of on the back foot.
They do, man. They do. I mean, that shatter on Floria's Bubble, they had a lot of momentum, but Floria's keeping his team up regardless through it. Now the Hodge on the Losa, the Poly on the Super T's. They're setting up onto Losa once again, but not really getting all that much accomplished. At 28% dampening, the consistent pressure of the Turbo is starting to take a toll on We Love Fountain, but Floria doing an excellent job rotating through his defensive cooldowns, it would seem. Tony Jr. taking a bit of pressure, but that Ironbark is going to keep him A-okay for now. Losa in the background really pushing in the pressure on to Floria as Tony Jr. is on Asper, and this split pressure is going to be very hard for this Holy Paladin to heal through very soon. But Wheel of Fountain trying to set it up once again. The ring on the Super, the bash onto Losa, the Poly onto Tony Jr. as well. No off heals today, but the die by the sword is going to be forced. But is it going to be enough to keep him alive? Super T's still caught into that full cycle. He's going to have his trinket up in just 7 more seconds. Looks like there's nothing to follow it up onto Super T's just yet. So Losa should be okay, but everyone on Wheel of Fountain is starting to dip lower and lower as dampening gets higher and higher.
Yeah, we are at 33% dampening. Asper actually has that Celestial Alignment up, so he might be able to make something happen on the Losa, but Super T's, Tony, and Losa all having the trinkets up right now. Losa actually deciding to trinket out of that Hodge, I believe, so he has no trinket available. The full clone on a Super T. Super T's also trinketing. This is the Celestial Alignment out of Asper, so he knows damage is going to be exceptionally high, so it's not that bad of an idea to just throw out that trinket and make sure he doesn't fall behind and doesn't really let Asper, Mage, and Floria get anything going. They don't want to be able to force any more cooldowns. Losa still has his Enraged Regeneration if he needs it. Asper taking a lot of damage down to 50% HP right now, has that Barskin up. Floria trying to get the heals out onto him, the Hodge going out onto Losa. It actually, I believe, got dispelled by Super T's, but Losa down to 70% HP. Just explodes. I know, man.
It caught me off guard.
That was very unexpected.
I hate interrupting you like that, but I was
no. I like it. That's good.
It scared
Unbelievable.
the crap out of me, but there we go. Losa is going to fall to the setup of We Love Fountain, and you could see the momentum. You could see it coming in from this TSG, but it didn't matter. We Love Fountain, they set up, they made it happen, and they executed, and they're going to take a 3-0 victory from Tony from the Bronx, and they are the finalists. They are the champions of tournament number 18. Yet again, Floria, Mage and Asper, GCD TV champions. Shout out goes to Tony from the Bronx, though. There it is. Tony Jr., Super T's, and Losa did get second place here in tournament number 18. They're always coming back. They're always competing so very well. I hope to see them again. I'm sure we will. But there it is. Let's take a quick look at that bracket. We Love Fountain taking it 3-0 in the finals, getting all the way through that bracket. And that is going to conclude tournament number 18, guys. But stick around. I will be announcing some interesting facts here pretty soon about what's happening in the near future.